How's it going, Spiel supporters? It's me, Big Spiels Fan 363, and today we're going to be going over my favorite deck to play in this current format, Regidrago VSTAR. So we're going to go over the intricacies of the deck, figure out how it plays, some of the things that could be better, could be worse, generally just the way that I play it. So we're going to go over the Pokemon first. Obviously, the star of the show, Regidrago. So, if you don't know, Regidrago is a Dragon-type Pokemon, as you can see here, Regidrago. Its base form, Regidrago V, has an attack for 1 colorless energy, Celestial Roar, discard top 3. Generally, you're not really using that. That's just more of like, oh, I can't really do much else. This is my option. Dragon Laser sometimes comes in clutch. 2 grass, 1 fire energy, 130 damage, and it does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench, which is, not the worst thing in the world, but it's an option. The main meat and potatoes is over here with our friend Regidrago VSTAR. So Regidrago VSTAR's whole thing is that it has its attack Apex Dragon, which is again the same energy cost as Celestial Roar, but the difference is that you choose an attack from your choose a Dragon type Pokemon's attack from your discard pile, and you use it as the effect of that attack. So naturally, Regidrago wants to get Dragon type Pokemon as quickly as it can into the discard pile to copy said attacks. So we also have, and I almost forgot to mention this, we also have Legacy Star, which is its V-Star power, which is during your turn you may discard the top 7 cards of your deck, and you put up to 2 cards from your discard pile into your hand. Now, one of the things that I remember when I first started playing this deck that I forgot about is that the cards that you grab do not have to be from the 7 that you throw away. So if you already have like 5 cards in your discard pile and you throw away another 7, you don't need to grab 2 from the 7 that you throw away. You can grab from the whole 13, which is important to remember because sometimes you might be thinking, oh, I need to get this card and another card, and sometimes you might get stuck in your head and think, oh, I have to get it off of this. But no, it's already in there, so you're kind of safe. But that's also one of the things that I like about Regidrago is that it lets you grab essentially anything you want from this card pile. So you can grab supporters, you can grab just pretty much anything you want. So if you want a boss again, you can. If you want to use your ace spec again, you can, which is, very powerful. So we run a 4-4-3 line of Regidrago. 4 because it's the main attacker and we want to get him. 3, I don't know, 3 just because. That seems to be the common answer. It's just you do 4 of the base, 3 of the top one. So yeah, that's Regidrago. On to the supporter of this deck. The reason this deck is even good now, Teal Mask Ogerpon. So Teal Mask Ogerpon's ability reads that once during your turn you may attach a basic grass energy from your hand to this Pokemon. And if you did that, you can draw a card. So this changed Regidrago. This is what made Regidrago so good. Because now, what I can do is I can attach grass energy, and you attach it, and you get a card. Now you're probably wondering, that's cool and all, but what's like why is that, so vital that it, changes the entire life of Regidrago and makes it like, an actual pretty good deck? Energy Switch. Energy Switch lets you move a basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another. So, you Teal Dance twice to 2 Ogerpons, you Energy Switch twice onto the Drago, and then you manually attach the Fire Energy for turn. And then you can attack, which is really good because you can also get it powered up in 1 turn, which is, very, very unheard of for the Regidrago. And occasionally, especially sometimes in the Zard matchup specifically, you can use Ogerpon's Myriad Leaf Shower as an attack, which, since it's grass type, will hit for weakness. Generally, you're not really trying to do that, but if it's something you need to do, it's something you can do. Moving forward, we have what I like to call, not what I like to call, but the Dragon attackers. So these are what your Regidrago is going to be copying. So the first one is Hisuian Goodra VSTAR, Rolling Iron. 200 damage during your opponent's next turn, you take 80 less damage from attacks. Which is crazy, because that means Charizard can't one-hit KO you unless they have every single modifier known to man. But it's still pretty good in a lot of matchups, such as Chen-Pao, because Chen-Pao needs extra energy to kill you then. It's good in other, it's just all around good for most matchups. So Hisuian Goodra is awesome. The next one that we can go over is Giratina VSTAR Now this is the one that causes a bit of issue, because there's a bit of, for at least Regidrago players, there's a bit of like controversy between, are we running Giratina VSTAR or are we running Raging Bolt? So the thing with Raging Bolt is that Raging Bolt does 70 damage for each energy you get rid of, but there's no, or each basic energy that you get rid of, but there's no limit. So I can hit 280 off of 4 energy, or I can hit 350 off of 5 energy, and then kill Charizard. This can't really do that because I can only hit 280, and then I have to put 2 in the lesson. So really it's just a matter of, do you want the energy attached? Do you want energy resources more? Or do you care about killing things, or knocking things out as soon as possible? So Giratina VSTAR is what I like to go for, especially because since it's 280, there's another Pokemon here where you can put 60 on something, and then you just knock it out later. Continuing, we have the Noivern EX. Some lists don't run Noivern, some do. Covert Flight is really good because then it kind of helps with, personally for me, with the Raging Bolt matchup, because Raging Bolt is one of those attackers that just kills you really, really, really fast. And Regidrago just can't keep up with it because it's just too fast. So Covert Flight helps slow it down because it prevents all damage from basic Pokemon, which Raging Bolt is. So it helps you kind of like force them to either have the boss or, you know, the Prime Catcher or whatever, while you can still hopefully get set up with another Drago. The next attacker that isn't really used, but I didn't have like another card instead, Altaria EX. Light Pulse makes it so that during your next turn, prevent all effects of attacks used by opponent's Pokemon. Really, it's kind of here just because I can use it as fodder, but it's also kind of helpful in the Roaring Moon matchup, now that Roaring Moon's starting to come back a little bit, because it prevents the insta-kill, and they can't knock you out. It prevents the instant knockout, and they can't instantly knock you out, and they can't knock you out with Calamity Storm, because Calamity Storm only does 220, and Drago has 280. And then the star of the show, another reason that Regidrago is so good, is Dragapult EX. Dragapult EX is Phantom Dive, 200 damage, put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon, and then you're like, this card single-handedly, well, aside from Ogerpon, is another reason that Drago is so good. That you can hit for 200, put a couple damage counters to something else. So you can either take out small basics that have 60 or 70 HP, or you can set up for later, maybe hit a Charizard, take it from 330 down to 270, and then knock it out with Lost Impact. So those are the dragons. Then we have a couple other support Pokemon. Mew EX, restart. Once during your turn, you may draw 3 cards. It's pretty good for that. It's also free retreat, so you can just bring it in, retreat it, hit it. Also, if you're really funny, you could try to go for your genome hacking, because you can just energy switch onto the Mew EX. So if your opponent has the Radiant Greninja in the active, you can certainly go for a concealed cards play. Is it recommended? Not really, but if you want to be funny, you can do it. The next Pokemon, Hawlucha. Flying entry. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto the bench, you pick 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon and put 1 damage counter. So that's mainly just for 70 HP basics like Charmander and Dreepy, because they play 70 HP basics. So by hitting them with the flying entry, take them down to 60, and then you can knock them out with the Dragapult. And then the last card that I personally use is Radiant Greninja. For concealed cards, once during your turn, you must discard an energy card to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw 2 cards. Extra draw support also helps you get energy into this card pile, which will help you out later. You could also run Radiant Charizard because you're running the Fire Energy anyway, so that's like a secondary attacker, which also would help for the Raging Bolt matchup, since you don't need 500 energy to get it ready. You just put it down, energy, go, knockout, take 2 prizes, which help out. And that's it for the Pokemon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 different Pokemon. Yeah, I like it. Now we go on to our support account. So, first support to Iono. Yes, Iono. Put cards in the bottom of the deck. Stop your opponent from playing the game. Very important. Especially for some decks that really want to get big hands, and then they can get, you know, cards to go around your Regidrago. Because Regidrago only has those cool effects when it's in active spot. If they hit around you or get you out of there, then it doesn't really matter. So Iono is a good way to keep the hand size small so they can't do as much. Then we also have 4 Professor's Research. Professor's Research, discard your hand and draw 7 cards. You're trying to throw away dragons into the discard pile anyway, so it's a good way to just get more cards. What I used to do was run 2 Carmine, 2 Research because I feel that Drago wants to go first most of the time. So being able to get a Carmine and really just like, get the cards moving is a good idea, but it's really just up to preference. So the next 2 supporters, 3 Boss's Orders, pretty standard. You want to use the Boss's Orders, boss in something. Sometimes what you can do is you can Apex Dragon something for 200, not knock it out. Boss's Orders it away. Then Apex Dragon Phantom Dive, hit for 200, boss it away, bring something else in, then use Apex Dragon Phantom Dive again, knock out the Pokemon that you brought into the active, but then also put damage counters onto the other Pokemon to knock it out and take a couple prizes. Which is, standard Dragapult play. That's what Dragapult does, but it works for Regidrago as well. So 3 boss. And that should be it for the supporters, but then there's also the item and energy counts. So first we gotta go over all the items. The most important item is the energy switches. So we run 4 energy switches because we need to get those energies onto Ogerpon, or we need to get those energies from Ogerpon onto Regidrago. And occasionally, sometimes, if you want to be funny, Mew EX. So, energy switch. Pretty standard. Then, the next item that's also a 4 of in this deck is the Earthen Vessel. You can use this card only if you discard 1 card from your hand, and then you get to search your deck for 2 energies. So, you can find energies to attach to the Ogerpon, but it also helps you get cards into the discard pile. Speaking of which, Ultra Ball, standard. You can only use this card if you discard 2 other cards from your hand. So that's a good way to also get cards in, or to get dragons into the discard pile. Sometimes you can even go Ultra Ball, an item, or a Pokemon and a thing to grab a Pokemon, and then you can Ultra Ball away that Pokemon and you just grab it for it. So it's another fun thing to do. We also run 4 Nest Ball. 4 Nest Ball is pretty important because Regidrago is a bit too big to eat Pokémon. So we run 4 Nest Ball to get what we need. Then we run into the 2 ofs. We run 2 Superior Energy Retrievals. So going back to Radiant Greninja, discard 1 energy, put it in the pile. You're also just going to be discarding energy off of, Regidrago's getting knocked out, or, retreating, so on and so forth. So energy retrieval is a good way, because you can only use it if you discard 2 other cards. So you discard the dragon, or whatever you want to with it, and then you get more energy back, and then you can keep moving. Next, we have Canceling Cologne. This is just for the Mew and, I believe, Cornerstone Ogerpon is getting better, or being played in a couple decks, so Canceling Cologne is for that, to get through their barrier protection of you can't hit me because you're in like EX or an ability. So that's a way for Canceling Cologne. Only really one of them, because if your opponent's running multiple Mimikyus, then that's not good. Super odd, we are burning through a lot of resources. Sometimes when you use your Legacy Star, you might throw away, and it's happened to me, you might throw away 2 Regidrago Vs, and then you're like, oh, well now I need to get this back in. Super Rod, come back in the deck. Pretty simple. Temple of Sinnoh. I run Temple of Sinnoh just because of Legacy Energy, because of Lugia. I thought, it'd be more of a threat, but since it's not much of a threat, I know a lot of lists are running Pokestop, because that lets you get item cards. And if you throw away one of your dragons, then even better. But I would also potentially recommend either Jamming Tower, because there's no vacuum in this list to get rid of those pesky A-Spec cards. But, there's other cards too. And for the A-Spec of this deck, we are running Scoop Up Cyclone for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, I am poor and cannot afford Friend Catcher. Reason number 2, there are so many uses for this card. You can pick up a Regidrago that's where it hurts. Oh no, my Regidrago's hurt. Just put it back in the hand. Bring in another Regidrago, try again. If they try to push something into the active that you don't want in there, so like a Hawlucha or whatever, you just Scoop Up Cyclone, pick it up, put it back in. Also, the fact that you can use it again, so you can Scoop Up Cyclone something, throw it away, Legacy Star, and then you can grab it again if you really wanted to. So my choice of base spec is Scoop Up Cyclone, just because there's so many uses for it that I like it more than the boss ability or the gusting power of the gusting power of the gusting power of Prime Catcher. Next up, we have the energy counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 grass and 3 fire. So this is where things get different for every Drago player is going to be different. 8 or 9 grass energies what we're typically running for the engine of Ogerpon, and then 3 fire energy. So 3 fire energy is pretty much what you're always going to be running. Part of the reason that I don't like running Radiant Charizard is because you only have 3 fire energy. So Drago's going to need 1. So if you're attacking with 2 Dragos and then trying to clean up with the Radiant Charizard, you have the 2 energies, but then if you prize one, then it's kind of messed up. But there is a case to be made for the fire Radiant Charizard. But yeah, 3 energy for a beast. So now what we're going to do is the fun part where I pretend to play a game by myself. So really, it's going to be not too crazy. What we're going to do is I'm just going to shuffle my deck, play as if, someone else is watching me, just to give you a general idea of how the Regidrago matchup plays. While we wait, though, I will go over some of the issues with the Regidrago. So one of the good things I like about Regidrago is that it's a super option-heavy deck. So if I am fighting this deck, I can do this. If I'm fighting another deck, there's so many options. But that's where some of the problems are. Sometimes having too many options is an issue because you don't know which option is the correct option. Also, sometimes the options are priced because, as you notice, I've run 1 of each dragon. I know some lists for Drago are heavy onto the Dragapult, so they'll just run 2 Dragapults instead of, 1 Dragapult and then the dragon. However, I like having the option of at least being able to say, oh, I'm not just going to, punch with Drago, hope for the best. There's options of, this deck is running this, so I can use Hisuian Goodra. This deck is running energy counts. Oh. This deck has a high damage cap. Decks like Chien-Pao and Goldango, where they have high damage caps, using the Noivern in Chien-Pao's case to at least stop them from being able to attack a Chien-Pao, or going for the Goodra, put 200 on them, and then cleaning up later with the Phantom Dives. So, anyway, let's get into our pretend match. So, shuffle the deck pretty well. My opponent would cut the deck. For our purposes, I'll be going first because that's what Drago generally wants to do. If you go second, it's not the end of the world, but it's important to not have the Drago in the active because that gives them a chance to knock out the Drago. And if you've already set it up and gotten all the energy on it, you could go for the attack and try to hit the 130, 30 on something else. But that also just gives them a chance to knock you out before you do anything. So, do our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do our 7 cards. We'll look at our hand. Hopefully I shuffled well. Yeah, relatively well. So we'll start with the Drago, but since we're going first, it's not the end of the world. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 prize cards. So we'll fist bump for good luck, flip over. And looking at our hand, we'll draw for turn. Okay, so first things first, we go for the Nest Ball. Trying to check. Look at our counts. So the thing that we want to go for here is the Teal Mask Ogerpon or the Radiant Greninja. In this case, I would prefer to go for the Teal Mask just because that'll start getting energy set up so that we can later energy switch it. So we will bench our Teal Mask Ogerpon, shuffle our deck. This is where things get kind of interesting because right now our hand isn't super crazy. We don't really have a support for next turn, but hopefully off of this shuffle, and off of this Teal Dance, we will get something. So I'll put my deck down, my opponent will cut it, just like that. Then we'll pick up our hand again, and we will go for our Teal Dance. So I'm using these little seals as ability markers, just because I know I forget. So we attach to the Dewmask, draw a card. So we drew another Ogerpon, so we'll bench that one. We will Teal Dance again to attach to that one, and draw another card. So now we have a supporter for next turn, which is good. I'm going to manually attach to the Regidrago because of the Teal Dances, allowing me to do that. And then we're actually going to hold the Hawlucha, because in this case I don't know what my opponent's playing. But even if my opponent was playing a evolution deck where they're running the 70 basic, typically they're not going to put them down immediately. So it's a better idea to at least hold the Hawlucha until next turn. So if they're running that. So I would pass to my opponent, they would do their thing, blah blah blah, you know, all that fun stuff. I'm going to flip a coin. I'm going to flip a coin here. If it's heads, then we'll just pretend that they played a Iono or something to, you know, shrink my hand down. If it's tails, then we'll just keep the hand. Alright, so it's heads, so they Iono me. So I'm going to shuffle my hand, goes to the bottom of the deck, and then we draw 6 cards, so on and so forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have our new 6. So we'd look at our hand, they would do their stuff. Maybe they hit me with something. Let's say they do Cramorant, I don't know. We'll go for a, I don't know, 110 damage, let's just say. Let's just say that they went for the Cramorant, so I took 110 damage, which is fine. So, now we will draw for turn. We got another Grass Energy. So, now what we will do is we will thin our deck. I'm going to use an Earthen Vessel, and we're going to throw away, if we would be playing Lost Box, probably a good idea to throw away a Noivern. So now we go into the deck and we search for 2 basic energy cards. So obviously the ones that we're going to go for in this situation are a Fire, because we don't have a Fire in our hand, and a Grass just for the draw support. But we want to play the Earthen Vessel and get all the energy so that we can thin the deck, hopefully Teal Mask or Teal Dance into something better. So we'll shuffle our deck. We're not going to go back in. Put it down right there. My opponent will shall cut this time. Put that into the hand. Now, going off of our hand, you can see we've got a lot of options here. So we will Teal Dance first onto the bench. Ogerpon, shuffle 1, and we have our Scoop Up Cyclone. So here's where we can make a fun play. So we're going to go another Teal Dance. We're going to attach to this over. We're going to draw. We pulled into another Research. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bench the Mew X. And then since I'm going to research this hand away anyway, I'm going to play the Scoop Up Cyclone to put the Teal Mask back into my hand. I'm going to re-bench it, and now that it's technically a new Pokemon, I'll Teal Dance onto it to hopefully draw into another card. So we drew into an Ultra Ball, which is really good here. Because now what we can do, and after I make some space, what we can do now, we can Ultra Ball and get rid of the Giratina VSTAR, because we don't this card pile anyway, and the Grass Energy. So we would search the deck. Now, in this case, what I would want to do is, since I have the Fire Energy in hand and I only run through them anyway, I would go for a Regidrago. However, what you could also do is go for one of your dragons and then throw it away into the discard pile. So I'm just going to go for the Regidrago V. I'm going to shuffle because there's nothing else left to do. And while I'm shuffling, I'm going to attach to the Fire Energy to the Regidrago, since I have not attached for turn. And then we're going to go for our Research. So, opponent cuts the deck. Ta-da! Manual attached to the Regidrago V. Then, we evolve into Regidrago VSTAR first, because we don't want to throw that away. Then, just for old time's sake, we are going to go for the restart, since I only have 2 cards in. We draw 1, and we draw into Regidrago V. So, I don't really want to bench it right now, so I'm just going to Professor's Research and throw away those 2 cards. So lets me draw 7 new ones. 1, 2, 3. So now we look at our hand. So now we got, here we go, okay. So we Energy Switch onto the Grass Regidrago VSTAR. We can do a lot of things here. We can't really use the bosses. We could go for the Nest Ball. There's not much anything we would want a Nest Ball for. We could go for that, or so on and so forth. But the main thing that we would do is that we would V-Star power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we throw away all those cards, which is really good because we throw away our 2 dragons. And generally we want it in the deck, but the main important thing is that we can grab our Energy Switch back, and we can also grab our Scoop Up Cyclone back. So I would use the Energy Switch again to switch it to that. I could even go for the Teal Mask to bring it back in, push it back down, Earthen Vessel, and so on and so forth. But that's just a general idea of the Regidrago matchup. So, lots of options. By turn 2, as you can see, I was already ready to attack. And not only was I ready to attack, I had the Goodra, the Dragapult, Tina, the Noivern, and the Altaria. I had all of my dragons in the discard pile, ready to go. But that's pretty much going to do it for today. Our prize cards, not the worst in the world. Prizing an Energy Switch is rough sometimes because then we don't have the option of, charging up 2 Regidragos as quickly as we can. However, because of the Legacy Star, we'll be able to get it back. But in general, that's the main idea of how the Regidrago list works. If you'd like to see me do a review of another list, such as Lugia or maybe a future box idea that I found from somebody else, let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all are feeling fine.